Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are taking another look at the Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 FE after using it for about 6 months. In today's video I'm going to be covering what my experience has been like using the Tab S10 FE here over the past 6 months. I'm also going to talk about whether you should consider picking up this tablet here as we are closing on 2025 here and we have more tablets dropping. And finally, of course, I'm going to talk about what you should expect from this tablet here 6 months down the line, assuming of course you do own one. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. First things first, design and how it's been holding up physically. I could tell you that 6 months down the line, you should expect your tablet to still remain perfect. Of course, assuming that you've been taking good care of it. I take pretty good care of my tablets, and I can tell you that not a single scratch, not a ding, and because of the design, right? It was designed to feel premium. It still feels premium, and because it was designed with premium in mind, it's a robust tablet. It's not plastic. It's not something that even if you were to drop or bump into things, it would immediately break. It's been holding up perfectly. Physical features 6 months down the line, still the same. The speakers still sound pretty crisp. This is not the loudest tablet out there, but the speakers, the sound quality is actually really good. I wish it had a little bit more bass, but crisp sound quality still there. USB Type-C still works, doesn't push out video signal as usual. Power button, volume rocker, fingerprint sensor, it's a physical one. 6 months down the line, still works perfectly. It works every single time, which is why I always prefer physical fingerprint scanner. Cameras, it's still the same decent camera. Nothing has changed there. So I can tell you that overall, having used this for 6 months, it's been holding up very well cosmetically, so you should not expect anything to break off of thing. Now, let me go ahead and jump into the next thing that people like to know about when it comes down to long-term use of a tablet, and that is battery. Well, this guy here is loaded with an 8,000 milliamp hour battery, which is already pretty good. It's an all-day battery, even for those of you who are power user. I am a power user, and I still see the entire day with this guy here. The charging speed on here is 45 watt, which is actually pretty good, because typically with budget tablet, you might see things like 25 watt, things that are capped at 25 watt. I believe the S6 Lite, the 2024, the 2022, even the 2020, even the S10 Lite, all are capped at 25 watt in terms of charging. So it's good to see that we have 45 watt here, but nevertheless, it's been holding up very well. I haven't noticed any change in, no changes in terms of battery life. That's not something that I expected. Either way, I didn't expect for the battery to already start dying. So if you own this tablet, you just bought it, just know that 6 months down the line, you still are going to be good in terms of battery. If anything, battery life might improve, because remember, those first couple to few weeks, you have machine learning doing its thing here, learning your habits, learning what you use more, and optimizing the tablet to make sure that it makes, the most optimal use of the battery, right? So it gets better over time as it learns your habits. So battery is good to go. Let's go ahead and move on to performance here. This guy is loaded with an Exynos 1580, and I know many of you were not happy about that because we had been accustomed to Snapdragon chipsets, which are generally extremely dependable, more powerful, a lot more reliable, and all that good stuff. This, as I mentioned, has the 1580 loaded there. It is a mid-range chipset, so you shouldn't expect for this to be a super powerful chip, and it's been holding up just like you would expect. It hasn't degraded, it still works well for light to moderate level of use, even some level of heavy use, but I can guarantee you that if you go really heavy, it's gonna stutter or it's gonna crash, it's gonna, you're gonna go through all of that, and it's gonna be even overheat, maybe not overheat, it's gonna get warm, right? In fact, when you do moderate usage for a while, it does get warm, all right, not to the extent where it's concerning, but it does get warm. And it's been the case since the beginning. Just like, if you're putting that processor to work, it is of course going to generate heat. So in terms of performance, I haven't seen any decline as far as that goes. Again, I wasn't expecting or thinking that, 6 months down the line, the performance would go down. So still good, still decent. So you shouldn't worry about that. You're still going to be able to do your light, moderate gaming, even some of the heavy gaming, except you're going to have to adjust the settings just to make sure that that processor can go ahead and take care of the graphics. So gaming is still good. Multitasking, still pretty good. You do have Samsung DeX here. It does support Samsung DeX. That works pretty well still, and you can do some light video editing here. Now, I'm not saying that if you're a creator, you should be loading 8K, 4K videos here and just use this as your editing machine. Might take a little while, right? But you could do some light to moderate editing of videos and photos on here without any issues. The S Pen still works, right? This is not an active S Pen. It still works well, so there's really not much I need to say about that. And that's as far as performance goes, right? You know, in terms of specs, I'm pretty sure you are familiar with this, but just to reiterate in case you were not familiar, it is loaded, as I mentioned earlier, with an Exynos 1580. That is, of course, the platform. You have Android 15. It is also loaded with 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM for the base model, or 12 gigs of RAM for the 256 gigs model or config, which is what I have here. I have the 256 gigs with 12 gigs of RAM. So in terms of multitasking, it's actually been pretty decent, pretty surprising there. And that's as far as, you know, performance, specs, and all of that goes. Let's go ahead and move on to display. Of course, this is a 10.9 inches here. The resolution here is 1440 by 2303, and the PPI density here, I believe, is 250 or so. So image quality is actually pretty sharp here. And on top of that, you have 90 hertz for the refresh rate. So you have a high refresh rate here, meaning scrolling through things, it's actually pretty smooth. It's buttery smooth, actually. Again, picture quality here is really good. Vibrant things really do pop here. So watching movies, watching videos, even gaming, pretty immersive here, especially given the aspect ratio that you have here. You have that very wide aspect ratio. So watching movies here, very neat. Plus you have those very thin bars, so that modern design there makes things pretty enjoyable. That's as far as the display goes. So far, it's been good over the past 6 months. Nothing new there, nothing else to say there. Moving on to cameras here. What you have on the back there is a 13 megapixel, and on the front you have a 12 megapixel selfie camera. You know, most people don't buy tablets because of the cameras, but I can tell you that, you know, these cameras are pretty decent. They're pretty good, actually. You know, good for video calling, conference call, you know, calling grandma, your friends, your teachers, professor, all that good stuff. You'll be able to, you know, truly enjoy communicating with people, even if you're doing work on the display here. As you are, I don't know, if let's say you are a student and you're in class, you can take down your notes, you can do things on the display while communicating with your professor. It's also been good to use it to scan documents and things like that. Like I always say, this is not the type of camera that you buy because you want to take your Instagram pictures, your top level pictures. I'm pretty sure the phone that you have in your pocket takes better pictures than this guy. But if you want to do that, hey, be my guest, that would work also. Now, I'm not going to drag this video, making it longer than it needs to be. Oh, the one feature that I forgot is the, you know, of course, water resistance. It's still water resistant. I've tested it out. It survives underwater at up to, I believe, an hour, under 1.5 meters, things like that. So that's always good in case you are by the pool and you get your tablet splashed with water. You'll be just fine. And as I mentioned, the fingerprint sensor works pretty well. But anyways, with all of this said, would I recommend the Galaxy Tab S10 FE in 2025? Well, first of all, it depends on what you're in the market for, right? Yes, I definitely would recommend, but if you're in the market for something a lot more powerful, then you should definitely stay away from it. Go from the, go for the Galaxy Tab S9 or the S10 Plus or even the S11, right? But if you're looking for something that is not going to break the bank, that is going to offer you some good level of flexibility and pretty much a moderate level of power, this is a nice pickup. Plus, you're going to have access to the S Pen, which offers a fantastic experience, fantastic note-taking experience, right? Plus, drawing, if you're an artist, this is also a pretty neat tablet to pick up. If you're an artist, I would actually suggest you go for the Tab S10 FE Plus, right? So you can enjoy that larger or that extra screen real estate. So this is definitely a tablet that I would recommend to students, If you're a small business owner, I could definitely recommend this. Now, if you're a creator, I would recommend for you to go for something a little bit more powerful, maybe even an iPad, like the iPad 11, right? Something that would be, very focused in terms of, editing and things like that. So an iPad 11, for example, would be a nice pickup. Make sure to watch my battle video between the Tab S10 FE here and the iPad 11. That would be a good video if you're currently in the market hesitating and trying to figure out which one you should go between those two. So that's as far as my recommendation goes. So if you own this tablet down the line, these are the things that you should be expecting. You should expect for it to still perform the way it was performing on, week 1 or month 1. Still good to go. Performance is still good. Battery is still good. Camera is still good. Those are what you should be expecting. If you see anything less than that, yeah, maybe you should call Samsung and try to figure out what is happening there. Now, if you have any questions or any additional comments, make sure to put those in the comment section. I'm going to have also a link in the description. If you want to go ahead and pick up this, that link should route you to some of the best deals you can find on the Galaxy Tab S10 FE here. Let me know with any questions, things that you would like to see in the other tablets that I'm currently testing here, the S11, the Ultra, or the S10 Lite, which I'm going to pit against this guy eventually. Let me know what you would like to see in those videos. Make sure to like, make sure to share this video if you know anyone who would be interested. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'm going to catch you in the comment section, and I'm also going to catch you in the next video. Up until that next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.